firstly is to just say a very good morning to each and every one of us. The Haki Ni Yetu Consortium is a group of organizations that came together to implement this program, Haki Ni Yetu, a rights, governance, and accountability project, basically for Kenyans. Our lead organization is the Kios Foundation, and then we have a civil society organization network, popularly known as CSO.net, based within Western Kenya, and then we also have Inform Action. So without further ado, I'd want to just pass on the microphone. Sarah, if you're ready, you could be able to run us through the presentation, and then we'll create time for further question and answer session, plenary session after this.
Yes, I am. Thank you very much, Pico, for the introduction. I will run you through the overall project to give you an idea what Haki Ni Yetu project is all about, and then I will give you some prior information regarding the open call that will be launched next week. The project objective is strengthening the capacity of county-based and grassroots civil society groups for enhanced governance, accountability, and protection of human rights of the people of Kenya. And we are an EU-funded project, and the duration is 4 years. We are now at the midpoint of the project. So the three main themes of the project are democracy and rule of law, gender equality and non-discrimination, business and human rights. There are 15 priority counties and 5 additional counties in 4 clusters as the focus areas of this project. So we have the Western Kenya, Kakamega, Busia, Migori, Siaya, Kisii, Kericho counties, plus Bungoma, Kisumu, Homa Bay, Nyamira. We have the ASIL cluster, Narok, Turkana, Isiolo, plus Laikipia. So we have Western Kenya, ASIL cluster, Central Kenya, and Coastal Kenya. So we have primary and direct beneficiaries. The project aims to reach 80 to 100 community-based and grassroots organizations in the 15 priority countries that we are working in. Also, we are aiming to reach 40 community action teams, so different partners at a grassroots level or informal settlements. We are aiming to reach 190 citizen activists, journalists, and 30 social justice centers, community-level activist group-led social justice centers. The size of the grants are everywhere between 500 to 400 euros. So that would be around 70,000 to 560,000 Kenyan shillings. These are aimed for very grassroots level actions, and the next call will be opened for 8 counties. So the small grants management and reporting guidelines will be launched at the same time with the call. You will be able to then see all the requirements for you to be eligible to apply for this grant. So the overall objective with this sub-grant is to strengthen the capacities of selected CBOs and grassroots organizations working on defending human rights of people in vulnerable positions, marginalized groups, and increasing the accountability of duty bearers. And secondly, to encourage CBOs and grassroots organizations to participate meaningfully in holding local and national authorities accountable to improving the delivery of services related to ESC rights and to ensuring the rule of law and human rights. So who can apply? The next call will have the 8 target countries, which are Busia, Embu, Kakamega, Kilifi, Kirinyaga, Kwale, Siaya, and Taita Taweka. So those target countries and community-based organizations based there can apply. So as you are aware, community-based organizations are defined as a not-for-profit, non-religious, non-governmental, and non-political organizations. And we accept applications from currently registered or planning to register with the Department of Social Services or other civil society organizations working in grassroots in the form of societies, associations, trusts, and companies limited by guarantee registered under the Societies Act, Trust Deed Act, and Companies Act. We accept also applications from non-registered community-based groups or community action groups. So women and youth-led organizations and civil society groups led by marginalized groups themselves are particularly encouraged to apply. At least 50% of the financial support will be awarded to such civil society groups. So we want to highlight that there are non-eligible organizations that cannot be, or there are individuals, for example, for-profit entities, religious communities and churches, political parties, government institutions, and international non-governmental organizations are not eligible to apply for this grant. Also, we do not accept applications from organizations that have an annual income of more than 1 million Kenyan shillings. So we really want to highlight the fact that this is a small grant for grassroots level organizations or community groups, and also organizations that need to have presence in those 8 target countries that are now open for the call. The Civic Action and Community Empowerment Grant, we will open the call for proposals next week, and the proposals are rather uncomplicated. So we really just want to get the information of your organization or your group, and then what are the proposed actions and what is the proposed budget. So grant activities that can be funded under this grant are, for example, events, group action, training and capacity building, advocacy, or a sustainability action. With this grant, the consortium will also, the project itself will provide also mentoring and coaching support to the sub-grantees. Asante sana for now, and I welcome all your questions.
Thank you. My name is Esther Lulo from Kakamega County, Limitless Stock Organization. My question is on the last part, where you are talking about, I don't know if I had it wrong or that's why I'm asking about if the grant, if you will be facilitating events or training. That's where I'm having an issue. If you can repeat, please. Thank you.
Yes, there will be some training and mentoring also involved. You will be, if you receive the grant, you will then be part of the network of our grantees, and you will get additional information of all the trainings and capacity buildings that are happening in the project. In the meanwhile, perhaps my colleagues would like to also add to.
perhaps just to contextualize this project so that everybody has an idea, we're here to be able to share this different approach in how we want to be able to address the community challenges that are present. We recognize that communities are at the heart of every single change, and we can see that happening. And they do that through social movements. They're doing that through different transformative action. So what the small grant is doing, or what the small grant proposes to do, is to support organizations that are on the ground, that are working to be able to address some of the challenges they're facing, whether it's in health, education, climate justice, whether it's in human rights. And we're recognizing that the way to be able to have sustainable results in how we are changing these challenges requires that we start from the bottom coming up. And so this project is looking at addressing a lot of the systemic issues of inequality, marginalizations, because we recognize that every single community, and even the counties that we're talking about, we recognize their dynamisms in place. We know how counties and devolved government have been able to bring into focus a number of injustice and also inequality. So the fact that we have got the small grants is that the project is trying to be as strategic as possible to be able to support all these local unique needs and issues that grassroots organizations are battling with, but to support them in a way that we are focusing on building movements, on addressing through advocacy some of these actions that we consider injustice, and also strengthening the work that communities are doing through training, because you've asked whether training is part of this, and we're saying yes, it is. The empowerment processes that this project is talking about is one where we're doing it through the resources that we're providing, but we're also doing that through the trainings that are going to be in place, through the networking and coalition building that we hope to be able to see taking place by the very organizations that are also going to be supported, and also to be able to see how these collective actions that we're seeing at community level are leveraged in such a way that they do not just become transformative, but they become powerful in terms of scaling it up, and other community members also borrowing from what you are doing if you are supported, but borrowing from what you're doing so that we are now starting to build the community of practice. And of course, this is how we're talking about the movement building. So we are seeing expanded community members engaging in more advocacy work, but also recognizing the potential and power of what is being done, and then creating visibility around how community members can and have the power to be able to transform the injustices that they see around them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Betty. I think there's a good amount of questions that are available on our chat box, and I'll be able to just read a few out loud, and then colleagues will be able to answer to the best of our ability some of the questions. So the next question here would be from Benedict Amina. You're asking about the funding range. I think you've been answered. We have 500 to 4,000 euros. Chris Owala is asking, this current call is how much per organization and how many grants are you floating? Also, you've been answered. You just have 500 to 4,000 euros per proposal or per organization, based in the 8 counties that have been highlighted. Richard Babu from Taita Taveta. The CSO movement will want to know if newly registered organizations are allowed to apply. So yes, and also like organizations that have not registered yet. So the grant is available to all organizations, both registered and unregistered. Mercy Mwakio, you also had your hand up. So you're asking, what do you mean sustainability action? Does that mean income generating activities? I see you also have an answer. they need to be human rights projects. So income generating activities, not really.
Steve, can I
Yes, please proceed.
Because I think that's in response to what I talked about. So this is what we mean. When we talk about sustainable activities, we're saying that whatever it is that is going to be supported can actually continue even after the project comes to an end. And when we are talking about income generating activities, it is possible that this project can actually support not the income generating activities, but the work that's being done by people who are earning, but are done in a space where there is injustice. The whole concept around business and human rights does affect how community members are able to continue to earn an income. And so we are supporting activities that address the violations that take place within a space where people are doing business, because what we're trying to do is to be able to ensure that we are strengthening the capacity of institutions to support community members who continue to do the work that they are doing. And I think across the country, we can give examples of what's happening in the extractive industry, or if people are working with issues around domestic work. I mean, those are some of the things that we're talking about in terms of addressing, human rights within a business or an income generating space. And so we want to make sure that when you are designing your activities and when you're responding to the call, it is going to address some of those issues, and that if by participating or engaging in these activities that you propose, it is possible that even after the project comes to an end, you will still continue because you'll have been able to prepare a foundation to make sure that one can continue to do the work that they're doing, but one where one is able to respect human rights. Now, in relation to, what monies people are going to be receiving, I think perhaps it is important to just say that the ceiling is $4,000, 4,000 euro, works out to about 600 or something thousand, given the exchange rate that we have. But I think it is important for us to recognize that a lot of what you're going to be budgeting is going to be based on the work that you intend to do. So your activities should ideally guide you, but those activities that are guiding you are also ones that are addressing issues around policy change, around human rights, around addressing an injustice, around building this community, because you want to be able to ensure that you're seeing a move from a negative to a positive, but one where so many other community members will benefit by virtue of the intervention that you're going to put in place. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. Moving on to the next question. I'm seeing a few hands up. So Linda, you've typed on the chat box, but also I see your hand up. Please proceed to unmute and ask your question. Linda Indimuli.
Being a local community radio, that we are not in the profit making, but rather focusing on the community and how we can serve the community. If then we are eligible, and maybe if there is something else that we can know more about.
Yes, Steve, I would. Thank you very much. And thank you, Linda, for the question that you've asked. I think for me, my response would be very easy. The power of radio in communities cannot be underestimated. And we have seen the amazing work that media can do in galvanizing and mobilizing people towards action. And I think therein lies your response, that because we recognize the innovation that is taking place at community level, we recognize how local media stations have also been used to be able to transform issues and even demand accountability from duty bearers. It is possible that it can be supported, but I think for me the question would be how to make sure that as you are, requesting and putting in your proposal, you're able to link the action that will be taken through the sensitization and the change that one is going to be able to see. And once that connection is there, of course, then it is possible that it is going to be supported. And I think that's the beauty of working at grassroots level, that there is no sort of one size fits all. And I have seen amazing innovation and creativity that's taking place at community level in terms of how they're demanding accountability and even change that's taking place just through their, small engagements that are so profound. So we're not limiting, we're asking for new ideas, we're asking for different ways of doing things. We're saying, this is what I'm doing, and I'd like to be able to go to the next level. And that is now where we're coming in to be able to take you from where you've started and then be able to take you up to another level.
Chris Owala, you have your hand up. Kindly
Okay.
Ask your question.
Mine is that you are indicating that if you get more than 1 million, you are not eligible. But looking at the issues you are raising, that human rights, let's say business and human rights, they require back and forth continuous engagement. If somebody has got more than 1 million in the turnaround, and that will be, if you say that's be a criteria to not apply, how do you make sure that the activity that a partner is engaging in is continuous beyond your funding? Because I think that kind of funding need to give people a base and also need to help them do more work moving forward. But again, I was just looking at, if you look at the business and human rights, there are component of financing repressal. Are you able to support an engagement that tries to work with the funders and the companies and looking at the policies to end repressal of human rights defenders in the, let's say, in the mining areas or in the large land farm grab case study which are happening in the country, and also the extractive that's happening in the gold, and also both artisan scale miners that are being done by foreigners, and making the ground hostile. And also, could this also resource be used to support litigation? Thank you.
We are focusing on the grassroots, and we're talking about not more than that particular amount, which is 1 million Kenya shillings, because we recognize just how difficult it usually is for organizations that are small, that are not, formal in nature, but then are able to do amazing work even in the informal space. And we recognize just how important the work that is going on at the grassroots level, and that's why we are tapping into this space of local groups, registered or non-registered, because we actually do see what it is that's taking place, and we want to be able to support them to be able to, expand in scope, but also have very tangible success stories that can then be scaled to other organizations at the grassroots level where all this is happening.
Chris, you've also been answered the reason as to why organizations having a turnover of over 1 million shillings will be not eligible. There is a special zone for you. I believe if you're following through with Salva's presentation, she highlighted that the granting scheme in this program has 2 levels, large and small grants. For large, we shall have a future conversation. For today, we are only speaking about small grants.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank Sarah for her beautiful presentation. I have 2 questions. One is that there are 3 stakeholders who have joined together for this program. That is CSO Net Kisumu, Info Action Nairobi, and the Sarah's organization. I'm just wondering whether these proposals, when they are written, will they be directed to all the 3, or who will be coordinating the proposals? Number 2 is that I'm working with Water Resource Users Association, that is ROA. And we have what we call a rights-based approach in our activities to address the vulnerability of most of the community members. Somebody has talked about livelihood, and most of these people, they would want to have something that can sustain them, not only for a short term, but for a long term. I was just wondering whether livelihood, let's say water, food, all that goes into human consumption can be financed to assist the organizations that are going to apply so that they can improve the social status of their communities, particularly the communities they are working in. Now, the last question is, can the consortium, the 3 organizations, do some trainings for the small organizations so that they know how to write proposals? And if that can be done, I think most of the organizations, particularly the grassroots ones, which are targeted by this program, will be able to apply and access the amount that is stated. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicholas, Okea, and the team from RUA. So I'd want to start with your first question, and then I'll pass on the microphone to some of my colleagues here to provide further context to the other 2 questions that you provided. So firstly, you've asked about if your proposals will be seen by colleagues from the 3 consortium, from the 3 organizations within the consortium. Your direct answer is very yes. We have a unit called the Small Grants Team that will be doing the review and evaluation. It's comprising of teams from all the 3 organizations. Your question to do with livelihoods and your question to do with further training, I'll pass it on to Sarah. Are you able to provide quick context in terms of further training for the grantees, and specifically the cohort that Nicholas Okea is speaking about, who are people working within the livelihoods kind of programming?
All right. First of all, I would like to address there is several questions regarding the application process itself and application materials. So everything will be released once the call is open next week. So we cannot provide you the guidelines or the application form yet, but it will be all released at the same time with the call. Then there was also a question about what kind of capacity assessment will be done. We will do due diligence for all the organizations that will be shortlisted, or the applications that will be shortlisted. So at that point, we will check the capacity of the applicant to ensure that the funds are used in a transparent manner, and that the organization is able to conduct the activities that they have been applying funding for. With the trainings, I think perhaps Betty could elaborate more what kind of trainings. There was also a question about if it is possible to get trainings for developing applications, funding applications, and we do in this project. We do also trainings for a resource mobilization. But perhaps Betty, you would be able to elaborate a bit more about what kind of capacity building trainings are available through this Hakinieto project.
Okay, thank you so much, Sarah. Perhaps just to, in addition, before I respond to the question that you're asking me to respond to, I would also like to be able to state that we have got, when it comes to the proposals that are received, we have got an independent structure that is going to be reviewing and providing oversight over proposals that have been shortlisted and asking the questions around it. And this creates a level of not just independence, but also a completely external structure that ensures that everything that we're doing is above board. So that would, I hope that also provides a bit of reassurance to the people who are going to be applying once this call is out. Now, on issues of capacity building, I think we want to be able to say we do capacity building at, I think I would say 4 levels. at the level of writing, once the call that you've put in, there's the level of co-creating, and that co-creating is actually part of also building an organization in terms of how to be able to write a proposal. Once organizations have come on board, they will be taken through a number of both institutional and program capacity. So program in terms of the delivery of the work that you're doing, but institutional where we're looking at issues around governance, we're looking at issues around financial management, because we recognize that we will not leave you as just small organizations, but we're hoping that once we are able to have worked with you, we shall build your capacity enough for you to be able to now reach out to other organizations who would be asking, for example, if you do not have structures, who may need to ensure that those structures are in place. So we will be able to support organizations to be able to put in place structures, to be able to build the ones that they have, to support them in terms of how they're going to be managing their program. And then recognizing that you're not working by yourself, but you're working with the communities. By virtue of your having your own constituency, they will also be able to benefit from the mentoring and the coaching that we shall be providing through your space. So that at the end of the day, this project will provide support not just for you as an organization, but also for the community members that you're working with, to be able to understand issues around, the struggles that people are, dealing with, the injustice, how to address issues around accountability, strategies that can be used. So all that is going to be, supported and facilitated. And then alongside that, we shall continue to organize virtual trainings, which will be open to all the grantees and all the people they're working in. And then because we know that, especially for the people who are on the platform today, we know that you did register, you will continue to receive opportunity to be able to join us in some of the virtual trainings that are going to be in place. And this program also is going to be targeting peer learning. So that is going to be important, because then you get to see what is happening somewhere else, but you also get to showcase the work that you're doing, and then get an opportunity for others to be able to learn from what you're doing and continue to scale up.
I think Oscar Ouma, I have your hand back up.
Yes. My question is that as people who have worked with CSOs and CBOs, we know doing a proposal is not an easy thing, and most of you will agree with me. So I just want to, hear your word. You said that you will thoroughly read our proposals and that you will judge our proposal fairly, and that you don't already have names of people who you want to award proposals. I mean, generally, you just go thoroughly through our proposals, and you'll award those who deserve to win those grants. Thank you.
Yes, I can assure you, Oscar, that we do not have pre-selection. It is a completely open call, and the criteria is very transparent. We judge as mentioned by my colleague Betty already, we very much look into the innovative part of it, to see how you are suggesting what is your value added, and what is your so to say niche. What additional things and additional sustainable solutions you are suggesting to conduct. We do the application for the small grants. The application is rather simple, so it does not require. It is not a so-called traditional proposal. We understand that many of these groups applying are very local, grassroots level CBOs or community groups, and this definitely. We want to give this window for such groups to be able to work in their communities and to grow in meanwhile, and definitely I just want to highlight and ensure that this is a competitive process. We look at all the applications with the same criteria, and very transparently, you can see those criteria once we open the call.
Kiosk and the CIOSnet, Kisumu, and Info. Do they have grassroots agents? What do we call them? Agents, or somebody they are working with within the grassroots where we are? Let's say in Busia.
So I guess by that, when you say, do we have an agent, you imagine, do we have a representative? And the answer is no, we do not have a representative. However, we have got a presence in Busia by virtue of other activities that we undertake under different programs. But I think it's important for us to not, because the question alone may give an impression that because we have got presence over there, that there might be opportunity perhaps for people having influence over the other end. The answer to that would be no. So both IFA and both CSONET and even KIOS have a presence by virtue of the activities that they are implementing across the country in all the 20 counties, even though we are focusing on the initial 15. So we do have a presence by virtue of the activities that we engage in, that we do directly and we do through different organizations on the ground. I think I would respond to it that way. But because this is this call is premised on a platform of transparency and accountability, everybody will have equal access to the information that is given. Everybody will have access to an independent link. There is in place strategies to ensure that procedures are followed internally to insulate it against any perceived impropriety, if I'll put it that way. But then the organizations also are organizations that are coming with a reputation of integrity and transparency. And so none of us on this platform need to worry. I think it is also important for us to acknowledge that we cannot be able to fund everybody. I think that's important. However, having said that, we will continue to provide opportunity for capacity building, even for those who are not, to prepare them for any future, including somebody asked whether we are going to be doing training on resource mobilization. Yes, that's one of the key components that we're offering, both to those who are going to be granted, but also to those who are not, just so we make sure that we continue to build capacity of these organizations to be able to access other opportunities that are available that they may have missed out by virtue of, the challenges that they would have internally. Let me finish by responding to a question. Somebody asked a very important question, which was Millicent Juma, whether we have this in BRIM. And it's unfortunate we don't. However, please allow us between now and before then to internally reflect on that question, because it goes to the whole issue around inclusion, and see whether we can also, as a consortium, be innovative in the way we think that persons with disability who are challenged in different forms are also still able to access this call and even apply for it. And I've taken your email address. We will be able to reach out to you before then and be able to let you know how we think that will be done. And hopefully by then we will also be able to put it in the next webinar announcement that we'll give, that will be very clear, to ensure that we are as inclusive as possible and that there is no one left behind in this important project that we are implementing. Thank you.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Betty, for that very comprehensive answer. I also want to add, in a very Kenyan way, that there is usually opportunists who always look for somewhere to find a quick buck. So within this call for proposals, we will not have any intermediary in between. So let nobody reach out to you and say, I have a chance to get you through to the 4,000 euros or 500 euros. so give me a small percentage of it, or request for money from you to facilitate this kind of process. So nobody will be able to fast track or help or give you a fast person in line kind of opportunity into this granting scheme. So please, in the spirit of transparency and heavy accountability, that please do not give any money to anybody who will either reach you by phone or by any other forms. On next week, as we launch the call for proposals and where to apply and whatnot, you'll be given direct directions on where to reach in terms you have questions, who to write to or who to call in case you have any questions or you need further clarity. And also there will be further information sessions of where we'll provide just an opportunity for all of us to ask questions on how they have interacted with the granting system and every other application process that will be needed or will be launched next week. So please stay on the lookout, stay alert, do not pay money, do not pay in kind, nothing for anybody who is seeking to provide you with, let me say, facilitate you getting somewhere really quickly or what we call expediency. So we are very ethical and we stand on ethics above expediency. So let that be very clear. I think we shall proceed to just do a few rounds of closing remarks, just to provide clarity, what to look out for, and just any further information that would be from the team internally. We'll have the next perhaps about 5 minutes to do that.
So I'll go first and then I'll let Sarah to be able to close. I think I want to just, and mine will be really very brief. I just want to reiterate that this project is about investing in justice, it's investing in equality, and investing in accountability. Those are three major pillars for us in this project. And that we are going to be able to do that by empowering communities to be able to hold duty bearers accountable. Those two go hand in hand. And we recognize that it is important for communities to continue to advocate for their rights, and that when they're community-led, then the power and transformation is much, much bigger than if it is done from another level. So if you believe in those same principles that we do, then this project is for you. And we are looking forward to be able to work with you, to be able to work for you as you continue to also work for your own communities. So I look forward to welcome everyone on board, whether it's through the small grants or through the training and capacity building. And because you do have our contacts, because we've said you can all reach out to us through our respective platforms, we hope that you will continue to engage with us. And please feel free to ask us anything, knowing that we are available to be able to provide even virtual training. Reach out to us and let's see whether we can plan something together that will lead to addressing the struggles that I know as a country we continue to face in addressing the injustices that we have. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much for your participation in today's session. Just to add that there are still some detailed questions coming in. We want to address all of them, so I think my colleagues will look into the details later on, and we can share the answers to you after the session, and also the slides we will be sharing. As said, we are releasing the open call next week, where you will receive then more information, all the guidelines and the application form. And we will also hold another info session later on this month to ensure that once you have received the application form and the guidelines, you still have a chance to make more, put in your questions and do specific questions regarding the application itself. And as mentioned already, the call will be open for 1 month. So from that day that we release it, it will be open for the next month. So you will have plenty of time to submit your application for the funding. But for now, I thank you very much for this session, and look forward to also we look forward to receiving your applications.
Very well said. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining in this conversation and for this information session. So as highlighted, if you have any questions, on the chat box, there is an email, smallgrants@information.tv. I'll repeat again, smallgrants@information.tv. All questions will be directed to that email address, and somebody will promptly be able to write back to you. Also, at some point, all these questions asked here will be collated, and we'll have a frequently asked questions section within our socials and digital platforms, and there you'll be able to find specific answers to some of the frequently asked questions that have appeared here. Thank you very much, and see you soon in our next webinar and information session. Look out for the open call coming out next week on all platforms from LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or currently what is called X, Instagram platforms, websites for CSO, Kios, and Inform Action. You'll be able to find the information there, guidelines, all that, and we'll have, as we said, a further information session. For now, thank you. Have yourselves a good afternoon and a good rest of your day. Thank you, and see you soon.